I haven't missed a workout in 30 days. And to be completely honest with you, it's been pretty easy. And the reason for that is because I've made working out become part of my identity, right? Same way I wake up every morning and I brush my teeth, I don't think about it. It's the same way I show up to my workouts each and every day. And it's frictionless, it's automatic, it is easy. I just do it. Now, what's important to note is that over the last 30 days, I don't mean I worked out 30 days in a row. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about over the last 30 days with having a goal of working out 5 to 6 days per week, depending on the week. I have hit that week after week after week. And so I want to talk about how I've been able to make this part of my identity, part of my reality, because I've seen it with my clients. I've seen it from people that DM me on social media. This is not easy for everyone. And I promise you that with the right mindset, the right frameworks, the right structure, the right routines, this can become your reality. And there was once a time in my life that this wasn't the truth. I wasn't consistently showing up, and it's taken time and it's taken a lot of hard learning lessons. So, over this podcast, I want to give you everything that I've learned, and I want to help you create that identity of you, whatever that looks like for working out, and make it frictionless and easy for you to do. So, how do I plan and track my workouts? I plan pretty straightforward, which is right now, the priority has been running and doing yoga. So, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do yoga. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I run. And I've planned this ahead of time, knowing the days of the week. I also know the time of day, which is around 7 to 7:30 every morning, depending on the day, depending on if the dogs are taking a little bit longer on the morning walk. I have some frame that I try to hit. I don't need to be on the second, but it's usually between 7 and 7:30 I'll do this workout. So having a plan of when I'm doing it and what time has been really helpful. And then when it comes to tracking my workouts, I don't necessarily track to the detail of each workout. For yoga, I track, did I do a 50 to 60-minute workout? And that's, or yoga class, and that's done through, I use the Allo Moves app. So you can pick based on the duration of the actual class. That's helped me stay accountable. And then as well as with running, I try to run 5 miles every time I go out there to run. And so as long as I'm doing that, I know I've completed the workout, which ends up being around 45 minutes. So that's how I plan and that's how I track the workouts. What role does nutrition play in my workout consistency? So the same way you need gasoline in a vehicle in order to move the car, we need fuel within us. So liquid wise, water. I drink 2 of these Yetis per day if you're watching visually, especially now with the summer heat here in Texas, it's about 3. So I'm giving myself plenty of hydration each day of the week. On top of that, I'm making sure that I eat tons of protein, carbs, fats to make sure that my body is fueled up. Because when I'm working out, it is taking fuel away from me. The way I'm showing up in this podcast, this is taking fuel away from me. So I'm extremely mindful of what I am putting into my body, and I'm doing my best to make sure it is nothing but the best ingredients and it's making me feel my best self. 2 weeks ago, I put out a podcast talking about how I've been able to remove alcohol from my life the last 2 years. And I'll tell you right now, removing alcohol from my nutrition has been a huge unlock because there's no skipping workouts because I'm hungover. There's no, I used to show up to workouts and kind of show up 50%. Even though I was hungover, I still pushed myself to do it, but the workout wasn't great. And then all that extra calories and just knowing how alcohol is just a terrible lubricant inside your body. I have leveled up my nutrition, which has helped level up my ability to show up to the workout. And of course, please know I've had my party, my fun with alcohol. So I'm not judging any of you that still, drink. I'm just explaining what my experience has been like. How do I adjust my workouts based on my energy levels or how my body feels? So let's talk about energy levels. There's a reason why I work out first thing every morning. I'm coming off of 8 hours of sleep, so I feel rested, recharged. I usually walk our dogs and then feed them before I work out. So that's giving me about an hour to wake up my mind, my body, so that by the time I work out, I am truly fueled up to the best of my ability. I feel great. I feel energized. I feel ready to work out. So had I wait to the end of the day, 5, 6 p.m. to go to the gym, I would not have the energy I have in the morning, like I do in the morning. So for me, I just make it Non-negotiable, I'm going to do it first thing in the morning, which also helps me just stay so consistent because as the day unfolds, it's easier to say no or to skip it because there's all these other, things happening at dinner or, you're just tired. If it's the first thing I do every morning, I don't have another option but to do it before I move on to the next thing. Now we talk about how my body feels, right? So I am all about sustainable consistency. I really do pay attention to my body because I prioritize nutrition, because I prioritize rest, because I have slowly but surely consistently built working out into my identity. I don't feel my body is aching or like tired or feeling completely depleted. So when that does come, if it does come, I allow myself to take the day off if it does happen. That's how I deal with my body depending on how it's feeling. What are some of the mental benefits that I've noticed from staying consistent with my workouts? So there's no question about it. I would not be able to show up as the best version of myself as I am right now in this podcast. Right now it's 11:53 a.m. I played tennis for an hour this morning. That is a incredible workout that I've just been adding into my life, and it's been great. But the mental that comes from having a daily fitness routine is truly priceless, right? I mean, I just feel energized. I feel mentally clear. I don't experience brain fog. I feel motivated. Like, I think a lot of people deal with some of these big roadblocks that stop them from showing up as the best version of themselves in both their personal and professional life. And if only they just gave themselves the time and space to create some type of daily sweat where they realize, wow, this is an investment in me. That 50-minute investment completely changes the next 24 hours. So feel more motivated, feel more inspired, and overall, just it's been a huge mental unlock adding daily sweat into my life. Do I have a workout buddy or an accountability partner? I've gone through phases, right? I wouldn't say I've ever, maybe years ago when I was in college, I had a workout buddy, but I really just hold myself accountable because here's the thing. If you want to have an accountability partner, be my guest. Problem is now you're relying on someone else's schedule. If they don't show up, do you show up? The only time in the last 2 years where I've had any form of accountability as a partner would be Kate and I when we lived in LA. We used to do Barry's boot camp, and that was anywhere between 4 and 5 times a week. So we knew on our calendar we need to be here at 7:15 a.m. I need to pick her up on the way. And so there was accountability in working out with her and working out at a class where I knew I had to be in there. Otherwise, I was going to miss the class and I was going to potentially lose money. So that's kind of been my experience. But where I'm at present day, I just like being in control, holding myself accountable. And because I made it such a part of my identity, part of my life, I am not debating, do I want to work out or do I not want to work out today? It's just a non-negotiable. And if I have to skip because of, whatever it might be, I just adjust. But I really, really, really try to use that card very rarely because I don't want it to become something I do on a weekly basis. How has my workout routine impacted other areas of my life, like productivity or mood? So, once again, I really do think the reason I show up so mentally clear and I'm able to be super hyper focused and super productive in my day is because I prioritize the working out. It also has helped me show up better in my relationships and my friendships, in the relationship I have with myself, because it creates a space to really hone in on my vehicle, my body, and train it and push it, right? I'm not saying I'm out here trying to lift the biggest weights, run the fastest mile, run the furthest distance, do the craziest, wildest yoga poses. That's not the goal for me. The goal is to continue to train my body so I can operate at my best as the best version of me so that I can show up in every aspect of my life in the best version. So it has been such a unlock across the board. And I feel like a lot of people that listen to this podcast are probably always looking for those hacks to better their productivity to get more done in less time. I'll tell you right now, the investment of working out has paid its dividends big time. And I've had to help a lot of clients that will see this quote unquote 50-minute investment as wasted time because they could be working on their emails or working on a business project. The problem is they're not recognizing how much that 50-minute investment completely changes the next 24 hours. So my mood is increased. I feel so alive and energized and motivated every time I sit down at this desk to start working each day, because I come off a workout, I shower, I have a nice, healthy, well-rounded breakfast, water, coffee, and I am fired up to dive into the work when I sit down at this desk. What's my favorite type of workout and why? So, truth be told, I think it's a great time for me to be recording this episode because I'm about to go through kind of this next evolution of my health, right? So, as I mentioned, I have been for the last 3 to 6 months, I would run 3 days a week and do yoga 3 days a week. I'm now going into this new chapter of my life as of the last 2 days where I am going to lift weights anywhere between 3 to 4 days a week. I'll probably run 2 to 3 days a week. Maybe I'll do a two a day, and then tennis, hopefully at least once a week. So I like having like this diverse amount of options because there are days I don't want to run. And so maybe I'll do a yoga class. Or maybe it's, pouring rain and thundering lightning and I want to run, but I know I can't and it wouldn't be safe. So I have the yoga, I have the lifting the weights. I like having options because it gives me some options to pull from. And so instead of me saying, you know what, I'm not motivated to run today, so I'm just not going to work out, I'll then instead think to myself, I'm not motivated to run today, but instead I will either lift weights or do yoga. And I think each has its own benefit to me. Like I love the running without music, sometimes without podcasts. I will just lock in the zone and be running and just tap into the present moment. And it's almost like a moving meditation. I love the weights because I'm bumping music and I'm just like throwing big weight and it's fun. And there's also value to that. And then there's also like the yoga. I find that to be a very spiritual workout. And that's because of just the way a lot of the instructors run it. And I love it for that too. So they each serve a purpose, they each have value, and they each really serve me. How do I handle rest and recovery to prevent burnout or injury? So this goes back to what I was saying earlier, where if I need to take a day off, I will. And that's something that I learned from filmmaker Matt Diavell. It's called the 2-day rule. So the way the rule works is you can take any day off that you need, but you can't take more than 2 days off in a row, because when you do that, it is easier for you to keep pushing off the next day off, the next day off, and now you lose the momentum. But if you incorporate the 2-day rule and say you work out Monday, you take Tuesday off. You work out Wednesday, you take Thursday off. You work out Friday, but you take Saturday off. Over the long term, you're going to be in a better spot because you will have some consistency. But how many people do you know take, 3 days off from working out? That turns into a week, 2 weeks, a month. And now they're like, damn, I don't even know where to start. I've lost all this momentum. I don't know how to even get back into it. So I'm just not going to get back into it at all. I've dealt with clients. I've seen that with friends, and I've probably had those moments in my life too. But I think ultimately I always prioritize taking that day off if I need it. What also helps me prevent burnout is one full day off per week, which tends to be Saturday or Sunday for me. And then what helps with injury is never pushing myself to a place where I feel like I could injure myself. I don't need to impress anyone. Okay. I'm 30 years young. My body's still in great shape. I do believe I'm in better shape than I was at 22 when I was in college, but that doesn't mean I am Mr. Invincible. So, with that being said, I'm very mindful. I'm not here to impress anyone. I'm here to play the long game and focus on sustainable consistency. And so to make a little bit of progress each and every day. I'm not trying to go from throwing 50 pounds up on the dumbbells on a bench to then 80 pounds the next week. I'm going to slowly build myself up and not take myself to a place where it could hurt. I think what also helps prevent energy, stretching, which I don't do enough of. Having a Theragun helps, like a massage gun. foam rolling, and then I do have a cold plunge, which was an incredible investment 2 years ago. I do think that that helps prevent injury. On top of that, I think the only other part I would add is just making sure I get 8 hours of sleep. Crucial, very crucial, and really does help my recovery. What advice would I give to someone struggling to stay consistent with their workouts? So here's the thing. Here's the honest truth. If it's something you want to prioritize, you have to take responsibility for prioritizing it. And the easiest way to do that is figure out what days of the week do you want to do it and what times of day are you going to do it. If you do that and you build it into your calendar and you make it a non-negotiable, just the same way you shower, you brush your teeth every day, you eat food when you're hungry, you just do these things automatically. You don't think anything about it. It's autopilot mode. You just do. If you can do that for yourself, I promise you, staying consistent will be easier. I also think and would challenge you to ask yourself, are you someone that has been pushing it off to middle, end of the day? What would it look like for you to do it first thing every day, the same way I've discussed today, right? You wake up, you feel energized. It's the first thing you do, which means you have to do it before you can even move on to the next parts of your day. So creating almost this scheduled discipline and accountability so that you're doing it, or maybe get an accountability partner. If that is something that you want to do, like test it, try it. These things aren't going to happen overnight. You need to just see what works best for you. Everything I've shared today is based on my personal experience, but for you, you may need to make some of those changes. And then other than that, just, doing the things you need to do, such as the sleep, eating a healthy diet, drinking plenty of water, being extremely mindful if you are consuming alcohol. All of that plays a role into how you show up each day, how you feel each day, which is going to ripple. Are you motivated, inspired to work out, or are you just not even wanting to think about it? And, you know, understanding that it's going to help you show up as a better version of you in your business, in your personal life, etc. So, yes, I've been, you know, consistent over the last 30 days. But the one last thing I wanted to add is I'm very open to taking extended breaks as well. Perfect timing of me recording this was I just came back from traveling to the East Coast for 6 to 7 days with family, and I didn't have any workout routine. I didn't run. I didn't lift weights. I didn't do yoga. I tried to walk a good amount of steps each day. I also did paddleboarding once. That was also going into that week. I was fully accepting that if I don't work out, that's okay. Because I know for the last 6 months of the year, from January up until end of June, I have been hitting the pavement hard. It's been more than 30 days of just consistently hitting those fitness goals. It's been the entire year. And the reason I want to frame it as 30 days in today's podcast is because it really is all about the small steps. And I don't want you to think about, oh, how do I get consistent for 6 months? I want you to think about how to get consistent for 30 days. So think in that framework, and also give yourself the time to rest when you need it. It's healthy, it's productive, and it allowed me to go back into my fitness routine this week feeling so damn good. And now I'm ready to throw some weights, run a little bit, play some tennis, and just keep prioritizing my physical, mental well-being. So that is it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have been listening to this podcast, I would greatly appreciate, please take just 60 seconds, leave a review on either the iTunes podcast app, Spotify, whatever app you are listening in on. Please, please, please do that. It really does help the show. I will see you guys and gals on the next episode. It's the Bearded Man Podcast.